Hi, welcome to the efficient playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Or excuse me, walkthrough. It's definitely going to be more of a walkthrough than a playthrough. I am doing a series of videos going through the entire game of Dark Souls 3. I've played through the game many times, more than I'd care to admit. And I've found pretty much the most efficient way I can possibly get through the game. When I was trying out many builds. I've done pretty much all of the main builds, and I played through the game on my own every time to get to the level for PvP. So I think I have a pretty good knowledge of the game and how to get through it, how to get through it easily, how to access how to access later parts of the game earlier to get your weapons upgraded faster, to get later game weapons earlier in the game. Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be sharing everything I can. We'll be making sure we collect all the items, or at the very least we're going to collect almost all the items. If I happen to skip an item, I will definitely point out where it's at and how to get it. I'm thinking of one thing that I just don't even care to get because it's not worth it. So heads up on that. There's a few items that just aren't even worth the hassle of getting, but they're petty. But anyway, I digress. So I'm going to be starting with a warrior class because I'm going to be going for a pure quality build. Just keep it plain and simple. The name of the character is Amalia the Pure. Amalia, I was looking up different names, and Amalia is a root in efficiency, and then pure for just because we're doing a pure quality build. I'm going to be focusing on vigor, endurance, strength, and dexterity. Might put a couple points into vitality, might put a couple points into luck. That way we can get some better item drops, and I can show you things, and more likely to get the drops so I can show in the videos how to farm and whatnot. I'll be starting out with the fire gem. It'll give us a little bit of a head start, a little bit of boost to whatever weapon we decide to go with from the beginning. Alright, so before I start babbling on too much, we'll get right into it. So the first area is pretty much just the tutorial area. We'll be making our way towards Firelink Shrine. We got a couple there's mostly just easy enemies on the way there. There's a giant crystal lizard off to one side that's worth taking out. You get a good amount of souls for doing that at the start. So we're at the Cemetery of Ash. First thing I'm going to do is take off my shield. I'm not a big shield fan. I prefer dodging. I'm going to empty out my quick menu here. And I'm going to two-hand my weapon. I mean, I'm sure everyone has different playstyles. I prefer to just do rolling rather than taking on the hits with a shield. And first things first, we'll come around the corner and head to the right. There should be an item back here. And one thing I do throughout the entire game, especially when it comes to common enemies, when I first encounter them, I will count how many hits it takes to kill them. And so 1 right here and now. That way, if I have a group of them fighting me all at once, I can plan out my strategy for taking them on. That way I know I can hit once and then immediately turn around and hit another one, because I know it only takes 1 hit. And right here at the broken, I don't know, fountain or whatever this is, the bath, the vessel, we got our blue Ashen Estus flask. So gold Ashen Estus is for refilling your health, and the blue is for refilling your FP, or basically your magic points or your weapon art points. I'm not going to be using a whole lot of FP in this walkthrough. Just going to stick to the basic melee build of the character. And I mean, And as far as leveling up goes, well, I won't take it past 120. I don't know if I'll get that far, but anyways, okay, yeah. So I don't know. I walked over there and just killed him. But as you're coming up, we'll go up to the left. Be the quickest way to get through here. So we'll take the guy out on the left right here, and then just make our way around to the right. Be a crossbow guy right in the middle. And 2 more sitting around here. And even though like this is like the tutorial area and the undead little guys in the black cloaks, they're very easy to kill and they attack with a broken straight sword. But I mean, they do have kind of a vicious combo that comes out very rapidly, so don't underestimate them. Alright, so right up ahead, this is a giant crystal lizard. By killing it, we will get a good amount of souls, as well as a Titanite scale. This is kind of an optional thing right at this point. We're going to take it on now and just deal with it. If you're having trouble fighting this thing, you can definitely come back later after we get to the first bonfire and do it then. That way you don't risk losing anything before going up against the tutorial boss. So mainly you just want to focus on evading its attacks and just get your hits in when you have a chance, and don't be greedy with how many times you hit them. That goes for a majority of the enemy, or like the hard enemies, the bosses, is focusing on evasion and don't be greedy with your hits. When you do get enough melee attacks in on him, he will stagger and you can repost him. Try not to deplete your stamina, which is the green bar. Make sure you always have a little bit left in case you gotta get out of the area. Alright, so we got the repost right there. Get a couple more hits in before we get a little bit of distance between. Oh shit, we're stuck. This is bad. Dude, you son of a bitch, you motherfucker. I can't believe I just got trapped in the fucking corner there. Alright. Okay. Now let's try this again. We're off to a great start on this video. Go figure. Yep. So don't go right over there and get stuck in a corner spot like I did. Wow, look at that. It's like a 4-hit combo. I've never seen him do that before. There we go. Alright, he's almost dead. Another hit. There we go. Alright. Alright, back to what I was doing. Alright, so, and also grab the item before leaving this area. He gives you 4,000 souls, which is more than you get from the actual tutorial boss of the area, and it's more than you get from the first real boss when we get to the High Wall of Lothric. I don't know how they figured that out of giving you more souls by beating him than any of the bosses in the main game yet, at least the first 2. But yeah, so take care of him, take him out, and don't lose the souls. We definitely want to use them as much as we can. Dark Souls 3 is a game that is famous for showing you upcoming areas in the game before you get to them. And there's the Firelink shrine right there is where the main place we're headed. That's going to be like our main point of the game. We'll be warping in and out of there. That'll be like our hub. We'll be buying stuff out of there. We'll be upgrading all of our weapons and doing all our leveling up out of there. I wonder if you can see, I mean, I guess the High Wall of Lothric Castle is right behind us here. I wonder if you can see anything else. Yeah, I don't really see anything else. Alright, so anyway, here we are. This will be the first bonfire we come to. And when you sit at a bonfire, it refills your Estus, it refills your health, and it refills your items. So like if you use any fire bombs or if you use any arrows, you come and you have some in the in your storage, you sit at a bonfire to automatically pull them out of your storage and refill them into your immediate inventory. So, alright, we're gonna head off to the left. And go straight up here. Now, before dropping down, there's a Titanite shard on top of that coffin, where you need to run and jump off of this cliff to reach it. You're going to want to jump just to the right of that white tree root coming up there. So, I'm lining myself up to the right side of it. There we go. And that's the first Titanite shard. That's one of the upgraded materials that you use to upgrade your weapons. And right here is a chance to do a plunging attack. So lock onto the guy below you, drop down and hit R1. You can mash R1 over and over again if you want to, but you only have to press it once. And you'll automatically do a hit as you land. Got some more guys up here. And I'll just take everybody out that we see for now. Okay, so we mainly just wanted to come up back to the this side of the map. Oh. There, because we will get a few fire bombs right down there. One way to deal with this guy, so we got a crossbow guy on the further end, and right below us is a guy with a spear and a shield. Rather than walking down there and dealing with that guy on such a narrow pathway, just lock onto him and do a plunging attack, take him out in one hit, just be done with him, don't mess around, and then roll, because the crossbow guy will be shooting at you, so roll towards the crossbow guy and take him out, and that's it. We're done with these two. No messing around. Oh, turn around. There we go. Now, to use your fire bombs, you'll want to equip them in this menu on the bottom left. This menu is what you press down to scroll through it, and when you push square, you'll use whatever is at the main part of the menu, and then you can see the next two in the lineup. Whatever is at the very first, box in this menu. If you're on, let's say I'm on the fire bombs or I'm on blue Estus, if I hold the down button, no matter where I am in it, it'll automatically bring up the first item, which is a good idea to keep as your Estus flask. So if you're in a situation where you need to drink some Estus really quick, don't need to scroll through it and look at what you're doing because you're evading and rolling and dealing with a high stress situation, just hold the down button and it'll bring your Estus flask right up for you. But the next boss is a two-phase boss. The first phase is all physical. He does all physical damage. He is parryable if you do want to try and get some parries in. But the second phase, the black stuff you see in his back, is going to sprout out of him, and at that point he will be very, very weak to fire. So if you want to try out using these fire bombs on him, it's definitely worth it. I don't do it a whole lot because to throw them, the animation is kind of slow, because when he is in his second form, he moves really quick and he has a long range of attacks. So I don't really mess around with the fire bombs. I just focus on dodging what he's doing and getting my regular attacks in, rather than getting myself stuck in an animation of throwing the fire bombs, because I always get hit every time I try and do that. So I'm actually going to unequip them for my character. So he doesn't aggro until you pull the sword out of his body, and at that point he goes through an animation that takes a few moments before he's up and ready to fight you. So once you pull the sword out, you immediately start attacking him and getting hits on him, because it all counts. You won't see his life bar right away, but every hit that you get in on him is towards depleting his overall health. So yeah, and I mean, just like what I was saying about the Crystal Lizard, we're going to focus more on evading, get our hits in when we can. He's not that strong. It doesn't take a lot of hits. He's not a big tank. His attacks are pretty ferocious, but I mean, they're not, don't be scared of him. Like, he's not going to one-hit kill you with anything, or, you know. The boss is definitely more intimidating than its bark is louder than its bite, is what I'm getting at. So, all right, I'm gonna power up with my weapon art, and I'm gonna mash R1. And just lock on, see if I get one more in, and all right. Now watch my stamina. Yep. Might as well heal. Yeah, that was pointless. Alright, he's already halfway dead. Oh. Alright, so I'm just gonna circle him around to the right. Stay locked on, and I'm gonna circle to the right and roll every time it looks like he's trying to hit me. I mean, if you have to mash roll and do 2 or 3 rolls, you know, so be it. Alright, and that should be it. Staying locked onto him and just like doing that circle to the right, just keep circling around him, and when you see him make a move, like he's, you know, rearing back or coiling up and he's gonna try and attack you, I mean, once you see him getting that attack ready, just start rolling. And then once he misses his attack on you, start hitting him. You know, it's usually safe to get like 2 hits in on a boss before you have to worry about dodging again. Alright, so we lit our second bonfire. We're heading in through these doors, and this will be the main area of Firelink Shrine, at least the outside part of it. Off to the left is a broken straight sword. It's completely worthless. There's no use for that at all. On the left hand side right down there is another item, and there is a couple of guys guarding it. We'll do the same thing we did before with dropping on them. There we go. And I believe this is Homeward Bone. Yeah, Homeward Bone. That's an item you can use to warp back to the bonfire you were last at, or warp back to the Firelink Shrine directly. Alright, head straight up the stairs. There's a cluster of 2 enemies right in front of us, and another cluster of 2 back there. The first 2, once they stand up, the back 2 will stand up also. And the back 2 has a crossbow guy. So watch out for fire bolts flying at you as you come up to fight these guys. You mainly just want to take them out as quickly as you can, and then watch out for the crossbow guy. Alright, I'm gonna run up, take him out. Alright, so one thing about guys with shields, they'll block your attack and then immediately open themselves up. So you attack and they'll block, and then you immediately attack again and you'll get a hit in, and you can do that repeatedly. So they'll block, you get a hit, they'll block, you get a hit, you know. You can just you can spam them. Let's see, I want to put it to the test. Block, hit. Oh. Or repost, whatever. Basically what I'm saying is, to constantly attack an enemy shield, there's not a whole lot of downside unless you have like a really light weapon that bounces off the shield. Then you're kind of in a shit position. But in most cases, if you have a straight sword and you're one-handing it, it'll bounce off a shield. But if you put it in both hands, you can keep attacking the shield. There's no downside to repeatedly attacking someone's shield. Just watch your stamina. If you guard break them, like I just did, you get a riposte in. So, alright, come around to the left-hand side. Before you grab the item on the trees, we're going to take out these guys sitting on the steps. Because by grabbing the item, that makes them stand up and come over and start attacking you. There's another guy that's further up the steps that is the sword master. We're gonna just leave him alone for right now. He's a little bit harder to deal with. That is an actual NPC, and we do want to fight him and kill him because after we defeat him, we can summon him later on for other boss fights. Alright, so there we picked up an ember. Just keep continuing around the side here. Should be another item. Another homeward bone. And now down below, right over here, should be another item. Get another ember. Now there's an undead dog right around the corner here. It is facing the other direction. We're behind it. It does not know we're here. So we're going to run up on it and attack it and take it out before it has a chance to do anything. Done deal. And FYI, dogs are pains in the asses. They're very quick. Their attacks come out really fast. They jump around. They're hard to hit. They're just a fucking pain in the ass. Alright, so we're head directly into Firelink Shrine. First thing we're doing is talking to Hawkwood.
Well, you're not me. I made it weird, don't you?
We get a gesture from him. He is a depressed son of a bitch. And then head over here, and the lady sitting on the chair is the handmaid of the shrine. She's the main person that sells you items. So first things first, we're going to buy a prism stone. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the white sign, the soapstone, just to have it. And we want a large leather shield, and that should do it. So those items, the prism stone and the large leather shield, we're going to use right away to trade up to a crow, actually, that's going to give us better items for those. So head back up to the way we came in, but don't go out the door. Keep going up the stairs. And this is the upper exit of the Firelink Shrine. Underneath this tree, you can get a giant seed of a giant tree. It's an item that provokes enemies in your world to attack invaders. So you can get those right here. Head up the stairs, grab the items that we see, and now I'm gonna dump my armor to lighten my load so I can jump further. And we're gonna take a little shortcut. We're gonna jump up to this roof rather than buying the $20,000 key to get up there. So we're gonna run up this tree like at this angle, like this, and when we get as far up as we can, we're gonna turn and jump onto the roof. It'll probably take you a few tries to get it, but it's definitely worth it. So, oh, that was bad. Hopefully I can get it sooner rather than later, since I'm doing this. Almost. There we go. It's not too hard, especially if you take your armor off. Alright, and collect another 3 homeward bones right here. Maybe we should have bought some more fire bombs. We could deal with the sword master while we're up here. Alright, so we're going to run all the way around. You know, there's a good chance that the sword master is just going to run off the cliff and die. He's done that multiple times when I've come back here. But anyway, so there's a oh shit! The sword master literally just jumped off the fucking cliff. Alright, so if you run straight back here, like I just did. I don't know what the Swordmaster does because I never actually see it, but this happens all the time to me. He'll, I don't know, he'll like start following you and then all of a sudden, I don't know if he backs up or what he does, but he fucking just jumps off the fucking cliff. Anyway, so we got the souls for that, and that takes care of souls. The Swordmaster. That's probably the absolute easiest way to kill him. If he doesn't do that for you, you can buy some more fire bombs from the handmaid, and stand up here and throw fire bombs at him and get his health down, and then do a plunging attack on him to finish him off, or to get him really low. So you only need a couple more hits to finish him off. But yeah, that's pretty much the way to deal with him. Right up here around the corner will be our first crystal lizard. It's a little lizard that runs away from you as soon as it sees you, and it doesn't fight back or anything like that. You just have to catch it and kill it, and you get upgrade materials. The first one will be Titanite shards. So we're gonna go ahead and start running right now around the corner and hit R2 to do a jumping attack. A jumping attack will always flip it over on its back. And from that point you could just R1 it, but so yeah. So whenever you deal with a crystal lizard, run up on it and hit R2 to do a jumping attack, and that will stagger it. It'll put it on its back so you can easily take care of it rather than keep chasing it. Oh, and another thing, when you are chasing a crystal lizard, if you veer off to the left or veer off to the right, it will cause the crystal lizard to turn. So as I'm chasing it, if I would have went to the left, it would have automatically started curving in towards the right to the wall. So you can kind of control the direction that they run. That'll definitely help out later in the game. Alright, so we're staying up on the roof. We're going to head back in. Well, there's a door to go into the rafters of the Firelink shrine here. Alright, right here. Now be careful, do not fall off. We're going to go around to the left and across the first beam right here. And don't mind the crow. That's the crow's nest is right above us. And we're going to get our first Estus shard. That will increase the number of drinks we can take out of our flask. And right here in the pile of feathers, you can trade to the crow. You can trade here as well as on the actual roof above us. So the first item you want to trade is one of the fire bombs. If you're having trouble dropping it down on the ground, you have to unequip it from the menu that you put it in to use with the square button, and then you can drop it on the ground. Alright, so from Firebomb, that changes into a large Titanite shard. And... oh, and then the Prism Stone, make sure you use Leave. Do not use Discard. That completely throws it away, you'll never get it back. Use Leave. And from the Prism Stone, we get a Twinkling Titanite. Now we'll trade one of the Homeward Bones. And that gives us the Call Over Gesture as well as the Iron Bracelets. What do we got left? The Large Leather Shield. Alright, another Twinkling Titanite, and that should be it for now. There's definitely more stuff to trade to them that we will get to later. But that covers the best of what we can get for now that we want this early in the game. So head straight across to this dead end right here. It looks different than the other dead ends. So this one right here, and this is an illusionary wall. And go all the way back until you drop off. To the right hand side is a chest with the silver serpent ring. This ring increases the souls you get from killing enemies by 10%. It is also one of the rings that weighs more than most rings. It's a heavy ring. Alright. So that takes care of most of the Firelink item stuff. Now, so we already talked to the handmaid. make sure you buy whatever you need there. In fact, before we go into Lothar Castle, I'm going to grab a few more of the fire bombs. They come in very handy when you're dealing with certain enemies. A lot of enemies in this game are weak to fire, especially early on in the game. So I'm going to buy a few arrows because I'm definitely going to need those. And right back here is Andre the Blacksmith. This is where you go to upgrade your Estus flask. And I did not do that gesture. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I didn't even move my controller at all. Alright, so reinforce your Estus flask. Yes. And you can also allot your Estus, which means you can choose how many gold and how many blue you get. I don't need any blue, so I'm gonna go straight all gold Estus. If you're a pyromancer or a mage build, you're gonna want to do probably like 3 and 2, or even just 4 and 1, because I mean the spells aren't that taxing quite yet. So, and then you also upgrade your weapons with him. You infuse them, which changes their scaling, as well as you can also add elemental damage to your weapons and whatnot. And we're gonna talk to him twice. And after talking to him twice, we get another gesture, and that's it. And that's pretty much, that's it for the Firelink Shrine. So we don't need to talk to the little guy up on the throne yet. We'll have to deal with him later. We can level up. You talk to her. She does all your leveling up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels. Nice. 2, 3. Oh, I need 12 decks to be able to use a bow. So there's a long bow that's coming up that we're gonna get early on at the next area. It takes 12 decks. If you are interested in using a bow, you might want to get the 12 decks for that. Other than that, it's completely up to you on what you do with your levels. Depending on what kind of build you're doing, it's going to change drastically. For a quality build, like I said, I'll be focusing just on health, endurance, strength, dex, blah blah blah. If you're doing a mage build, you're going to want to do mostly intelligence for your damage. If you're doing a pyro, intelligence and faith both go into scaling your damage up with pyromancies. And just, if you don't know, strength is for like bigger, heavier hitting weapons, and dexterity is for like the quicker hitting weapons. Your faster, lighter weapons will scale with dex, and by scale I mean the more points you have into that attribute, the more damage they'll do. Like you can see my axe right now, so it's at 151, 152, 155, it jumps up 3, 56, 59. They have, you know, and with dex it barely goes up at all. So see, my axe is a strength weapon. You can see the difference there. But yeah.
Farewell, Ashen One.
So before we go, we put the coiled sword that we pulled out of Ludic's Gundyr into the bonfire, and this will be our main bonfire of the entire game. You sit at it. This is where you burn your undead bone shards as well. That increases the amount of health your Estus flask revives per drink. You can take it all the way to a +10. So when you get an undead bone shard, come here and burn it. You can access your storage box. You can access your storage box from any bonfire, and you can store stuff in it. And you can also choose the auto refill with R3. You can turn it off and on. So if you don't want things to refill when you sit at a bonfire, you can turn them off with the R3 button. And one thing I do is in my main inventory, when I get a boss soul, you can use boss souls to transform them into weapons or spells or rings, yada yada yada. I always put my boss souls in my storage box. That way I don't accidentally use them, because you can also use them to gain souls, and you don't really get that much. It's not worth it. It's never worth it at all. Even if you have duplicates of the weapon already, it's better to either save it or just make a weapon or the other weapon. It's the souls you get from popping the boss souls is never worth it. Put them in your storage box, and you can still access them when you want to change them over to the weapon or whatever you want. They don't have to be in your immediate inventory for you to use them to change them into an object, weapon, or whatever. So a little tip there. I think that's pretty much going to do it at this point. One thing, you want to periodically talk to this guy, even though he's a big fucking downer. He'll give you a couple items as we go along in the story. Also, everybody that you run into that's going to help you out, all the NPCs that we talk to that help you, will come here. You'll get another person that sells you stuff here. You'll get someone that teaches you sorcery, someone that teaches you pyromancies, and someone that teaches you miracles, and someone that teaches you dark miracles. Also in this playthrough, I'm going to be doing the Hollow Londor ending, so I'll be bringing in Yol into here and following that storyline to get the I don't know, in my opinion it's the better ending of the entire game. It's the third more complicated ending, so we'll be going through that as well. Yeah, I think that concludes everything. I can't really think of anything else to go over. I hope I'm not babbling on and on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I helped you out a little bit. I'm trying to think of anything else I could bring up and say, but I can't think of anything. Alright, so next video we'll be tackling the High Wall of Lothric. And like I said, in this playthrough we're going to be hitting later game areas sooner. We'll be getting as much stuff as we can as soon as we can to make our character more powerful than they should be early in the game, and we'll have an easier time doing stuff. I'll teach you where to farm stuff. I'll teach you the soonest place you can get a Titanite slab. I'm gonna do my best to get you through the game, even if I'll teach you how to cheese stuff and get you to be an OP beast in this game, hopefully. Bear with me though, this is the first walkthrough type of series I've ever done. I'll definitely be learning as I go. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully, like I said, I helped someone out. Alright, I'll see you at the next video.